Also, go ahead and grab a folded up blanket or a towel. It can just help to have something to sit on during some of these postures. Let's go ahead and begin. Come to your back. So lie on your back. Bring your feet wide towards the outer edges of your yoga mat, and then bring your knees together. If you need to scooch your feet in a little bit to get your knees to come together, go for it. Or you can put a blanket or a towel in between the knees if needed. Rest your hands just on your belly or on your sides. Some call this pose fallen bridge or constructive rest. But your thigh bones are just sort of resting now into the pelvis. Close your eyes and just take a few moments to relax. You know that's always easier said than done. But just let your body melt and sink into the floor. Start to come out of your head and into your body. Because it's very important that we're present so we can feel and sense our way through our yoga practice. We store tension, tightness, experience in our bodies. And whatever we do repeatedly, for better or for worse, will tighten or loosen us up. This class is designed to help loosen you up, increase your mobility and your range of motion, and keep your body feeling good. The more you do it, the better you might feel. But honor your body, any injuries. Know that you can modify as you need to. Let's breathe together. Breathe in, fill yourself up. Exhale, let go. One more time, breathe in. Let it go. And then on your own, a deep conscious breath. Open your eyes. We'll move into bridge pose from here. So bring your feet just to hip width distance apart. Bring your ankles under your knees. And then lift your hips up off the mat now. So your knees are apart. Pull your chin out of your chest so that we have a curve in our neck. And press your upper arms into the yoga mat. If you'd like, you can lean on your left shoulder and bring your right arm more underneath you, and then lean on your right shoulder, bring your left under, and clasp, interlace your hands underneath your body. But you don't have to do that. What we're doing here is just opening the front of your hips. Now, if your glutes take over and you start to feel cramping in your glutes, then drop your hips down just about an inch until you feel your glutes soften. And then lengthen your tailbone down just the tiniest bit. So adjust and wiggle. Do what you need to do so that this feels good. We're not here to strain our bodies, but to find the sweet spot. That place where we can heal, where we can grow. Let's stay for another breath in together. And then exhale, let it go. And then roll your spine down, starting with your upper back, then your middle back. Then just try to let your lower back hit the mat last. Go ahead and come up into a seated position, and then press up onto all fours, any way you'd like to get there, tabletop. Walk your hands forward of your shoulders about a foot, and then lean your hips from here towards the mat, and then shift your knees over to the right, and then bring your hips towards your heels and then over to the left. So you're just doing some hip circles, almost like you're drawing a circle with your hips. If this is too much on your knees, you can grab your folded towel and place it underneath your knees, or fold your mat in half. There's always something you could do to make it better. Exaggerate your circles so you can get into those areas on the outside of the pelvis. Hard muscles to get to, really. And then settle yourself back at center and reverse the direction. So just start your circles in the opposite direction. Forward and back, side to side, drawing that great big circle, getting into those nooks and crannies that we don't often get to access with day-to-day activity. And finish your circles and just settle yourself into a neutral position, a neutral spine. From here, curl your toes and lift your hips for a downward facing dog. This will just help unload your lower back a little. Separate your feet hip-width distance apart. Soften your knees a little bit so you can bend your knees, and that will help you lengthen your spine. Spread your fingers wide and press into the pads of your fingers instead of the palms and the insides of your hands. We won't be here too long. Take a breath in and then let it go. Another breath and then let it out. From here, step your right foot forward in between your hands. You might step a little and then need to grab your ankle and put it there so that your ankle's right underneath your knee, or you can drop your back knee down and scoot it forward. Drop your back knee down, patting your back knee if you need to, and then climb your hands up onto your lower right thigh. From here, just melt into your lunge so you feel an opening in the front of your left hip. Now, as you inhale your breath, back out a little, and then exhale, sink in. A couple more times. Inhale, back out. Exhale, sink in. One more time. Inhale, back out. And exhale, just sink in. Sink in here and just hold. You can kind of relax your hand grip a little as you sink right into your lunge. If there's a lot of pressure on your knee, inch your right heel forward slightly, making sure that you're stacking your ankle under your knee, knee on top of ankle. Give it another breath as you lean into it. And then from here, release. Come back to down dog. It's a nice neutralizing posture to take in between poses. Take a breath. Let it go. Step as many steps as it takes to get there. Forward. So your left ankle comes underneath your left knee. Drop your right knee down, patting it if you need to, and then climb your hands on top of your lower left thigh. Sink into your lunge, and then back it out. Again, exhale, melt in. Inhale, back it out. Sink in as you exhale, and back it out. And then just melt into a place that feels good, where it's not too much sensation, where it's not too little. In yin yoga, they call the place that we seek in a yoga posture the Goldilocks place. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. We're not necessarily in yin yoga now, but it's great advice for any yoga posture. Now, one more breath. And then release to downward dog again. Hands down. Step your left foot back and just come to that upside down V-like position. Feel free to bend your knees to lengthen your spine a little more. Let's breathe in together. Exhale, let the breath out. From here, step your right foot, as many steps as it takes to get there, to the outside of your right hand. Inch it forward so it's towards the top right corner of your mat for a runner's lunge. Go ahead and grab your block, one or two. You may need them for this pose. And then melt down into it, maybe taking your forearms to a block. If you're more flexible, you can take your forearms to the floor and your head to a block, moving the block any way you need to find that comfort. Just know that you have those blocks to use to help you get to that sweet spot. Sink into your hips here. You may feel this in the inner right thigh, front of your left hip. Lots of areas are getting worked here. See if you can melt. If you feel pressure on your knee, your right knee, you can inch your right foot forward. If you want to feel more in the posture, you can inch your left knee back. Settle in for just a few more breaths, finding stillness, finding a place that works for you. Breathe in deep. Let it out. And then release back to downward dog. When you release, you might feel a little stiff. Then the blood will come and flow into those areas of your right hip and your right knee. Other side. Step your left foot forward to the outside of your left hand and work your left foot towards the top left corner of your mat. Just want to get your ankle in front of your knee. Left ankle in front of knee. And then sink into your lunge. You can grab blocks. You can place blocks under forearms, under head, or you can stay with straight arms. That might just be where you need to be. Okay, lots of different options. Find a place where you feel a good stretch in your hips, where you don't feel pain, numbness, tingling, compression. And then just melt into that place. You might back in, you might back out. Find what works, find what feels good. We can't force a stretch. We can't force a release. So use your breath to ease into it. Close your eyes so you can release all those parts of you that are stuck. And be present in your body. Take a big breath in. Let it go. And then very slowly come out and meet in your downward facing dog. Take a few breaths here. Maybe pedal out your feet. Press your heels into the mat. From here, walk your feet about as wide as your mat. And then bring your heels in and your toes out so that your feet are grounded all the way. Heels in, toes out. Now walk your hands towards the back of your mat into a seated frog malasana position. So you can kind of bend one knee and then bend the other and then inch your way down into your frog pose at the back of your mat. If this posture does not feel good to you, or you're not able to come down this low because of knees or ankles, you can come up here into a horse squat and rest thighs on knees. Also, if you have too narrow of a stance with your feet, you won't be able to get your heels down. You're welcome to be here if you need to for ankles, but otherwise bring your feet a little bit wider. Let your hips just drop down and your heart lift. You can bring your elbows to the inside of your knees and just settle in. Let your tailbone, your hips fall towards the floor, your head lift. Close your eyes. I'm sure you probably feel some tension. That's normal. See if you can focus on your breathing to let that tension dissolve a bit. Yoga frees our body. And the more free we feel in our bodies, the freer we might feel in our lives. Take a big breath in. Let it out. Stay a moment more. And then bring your hands to the mat and crawl forward back to your downward facing dog again. Bringing your feet hip-width distance apart, pressing your heels down. Bend your knees and find some freedom in your down dog. the blood flow back into your knees and hips. Half pigeon. And I'll give you a modification if this posture doesn't work for your knees or your hips. Bring your right knee forward to your right wrist. Place it on the ground. Drop your left knee to the ground and then walk your left knee back so that your right heel ends up sort of to the front of your left hip. From here, you can, if you'd like, grab a block or a blanket and place it underneath your right hip for support. Or you can lower down to your forearms, maybe place your forehead on a block. If this posture just does not feel good on your knees, then lie on your back and take a figure 4. So you bend your knees, take your right ankle in front of your left knee, grab your inner knee with your right hand, and then grab your outer knee with your left hand, or you can hold hamstring. So we'll get the same area as your half pigeon does. Wherever you are, melt in. Settle into stillness. We need these slower paced yoga classes to balance out the busyness in our lives, the upward energy, the moving fast. This type of yoga really works into your tissues and allows you time to ground down and to slow down. We tend to think too much, to do too much. Let go here and let yourself unravel and slow down. Take a breath in. Let it out. Press up to down dog from here. Nice and slow, honoring your body. Notice what you feel as soon as you release. And you might even just feel the movement now of energy, blood, flooding those areas. And you start to feel supple again. Half pigeon on the other side, left knee forward to left wrist. Drop your right knee to the mat and then walk it back slow, or take the other side of the posture that you did when you were on your back. Figure 4. Lower to forearms. Maybe place a block underneath your left hip, sort of butt cheek area, or you can place a block underneath your forehead, and that can feel lovely. Just start to relax, begin to slow down. Try to let go a little bit of your effort. Just be in the pose, receive from the pose. Melt in for a couple more breaths. Take a deep breath in and let it out. And then slowly make your way back up to downward facing dog, your very last one. Bend the knees just a tiny bit in your down dog and press into your hands. Let everything neutralize here. Take a breath in through your nose. Exhale through your mouth. Drop down to your knees, have a seat. Cow face in the lower body. I'll give you lots of options here. For starters, you can sit on a blanket to elevate your hips if you have more of a backwards pelvic tilt. That will help tilt your pelvis more forward. Or you can sit on a block for this pose. Or if it's easy for you, just sit both hips on the ground. Bend your left knee, point it forward, and then bend your right knee and bring it on top. What you're trying to do is stack your knees here. It's okay if your feet are far away, okay? If it's more comfortable for you, you can bring them in tighter. If you need to, you can also place a block in between your knees. Some people do that. Just know that there's lots of options for you to find this, and it doesn't have to look exactly like this. Sit into it the best that you can, and if you absolutely are unable to, you can take left foot down and take your right ankle in front of your left knee too. From here, just begin to lean forward until you feel sensation. This will get into the piriformis, that muscle in your backside that we tend to feel pain in sometimes. Fold until you feel it. Let your breath flow. You can lean as far forward as you need to feel sensation. You can back out as you need to. Come to your breathing to help release your body. Come up slow and switch sides. Right knee on the bottom, left leg on top. You might sit on a block, that could help, or a blanket. Or you can place a block in between your knees. Elevating your hips gives you a little bit more clearance. Or you can bend both knees and take your right ankle in front of your left knee. Take a breath in, and then fold forward from here as you need to feel sensation, to feel a stretch and an opening. Try to focus less on your thoughts, less on your thinking, more on the sensations that you feel. In slower yoga classes like this, I find I'm either in my head or I'm in my body. When I'm in my body, I get more from the practice. See if you can come to that place of presence so you can get the most from this. Take a breath in, let it go. And come out slow, lie on your back. Once on your back, just give your knees a squeeze into your chest and grab right underneath your knees. Your knees can come wide if that's easier for you, or you can pull them together. And then from here, bring them together. You can pull them away a little bit from your chest and bring them both over to the right side for a gentle spine twist. Just resting your knees on the floor. Look left. Release any remaining tension. And then release. Left knee can come up first, then right knee follows. Then bring your knees over to your left. Look over your right shoulder. Just twisting away tension. stress. Right knee comes up to center first, then left leg, then Shavasana. Extend your legs out in front of you. Bring your arms by your sides. If Shavasana with straight legs isn't comfy for you, then you can bend your knees like we did in the very beginning of class. Knees together, feet wide. Close your eyes and just rest here. Notice how you feel in your body. Notice today, right now, and notice later today and even tomorrow what you feel in your